Right, hi. I said I'd just show you how to wire this up. There's two jobs. So we've got the headphone socket at the top here. You can see these six pins here marked ground. This one's ground. That one's marked 5 volts in. That one's marked RX. The others don't matter. It's easier to just solder in a strip of 6 though. That's some of these header pins, these things. Yeah, let's just cut them off like that. Right, there's one other job you've got to do. If I can see it myself. Right. See here. You've got to join those. There's 2 tabs there, and I've joined them with a blob of solder. Just across there. You sometimes have to carefully scratch it just a little bit so that the solder sort of turns into a blob and crosses both without getting it all over everywhere else. So I'll see if I can get that under there. Can you see that? There. And then the last thing is you've got to have this switch in run mode. You see it's back for run and it's that way for load. That's for loading new firmware, so you want it back in that position. Now when you open the back of the middle panel of your hurdy-gurdy, you'll find sort of tidied out of the way with a cable tie around it. There's a male headphone socket which you plug in there. And there's also a piece of ribbon cable that looks about like this stuff here, right? And it's got a plug on the end of it with 6 female holes in it that plugs onto there, but only 3 wires. And the 3 wires are that one, ground, and then these 2 middle ones. So you can plug it on both either way round, but the way you know the correct way is the single wire that comes to one of the end pins goes to that one, because that's the ground wire. So it's that one and the middle 2. So you carefully undo the cable tie without snipping through any of the wires, and you put it on there. This board, sometimes you have to file the corners just a tad. Might be a bit tricky. Clip in to the rear panel. So the rear panel of your hurdy-gurdy, if you lie it on the table, is that shape, and it's actually got a black plastic thing on it glued on, which this will, with some trickiness, clip into. I say trickiness because normally I put it into the black mounting and then I glue the mounting on. I don't put this in afterwards, so you may have, it's held by the corners, you may have to file the corners a little bit to get it to go. That clips in that way round, and then you've got to carefully put it all back on. So you put your panel back on, making sure this wire and that wire aren't dangling onto the shaft of the crank. So with the headphone wire, for example, you can twist the socket round, twist the plug round, so the wire wants to sort of spring up out of the way. So just sort of, it's a bit fiddly, but basically just make sure the wires aren't rubbing on the shaft. So put it back together, lift one of the corners up and just peek in and see if everything looks all right before you finally put the 4 little tiny screws back in. So I hope that helps. As I say, the only thing I've not done, normally I reflash the latest firmware from the company that make this onto this before I put them in the Gurdies. So I'm hoping the one you bought has got that on it anyway, and shouldn't be a problem. And of course, don't forget to put your SD card in.